Hey there, welcome to the Mindful Mama Movement podcast. Mindful mothering is about nurturing yourself while you nurture others. It's about consciously awakening to your inner wisdom, strength, peace, and power as a mother in this changing world. From discovering your newborn to loving and accepting the wonderful people who've left your nest, our movement is inspiring mamas to be authentic and to live empowered lives. We are so happy you're here. Hey everybody, it's Shannon.
And I'm Ashley, and we're here with our friend Tori Weber. Welcome, Tori.
Hi, Tori.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
We're so excited that you're here. So I was saying before we hit record that you guys spend a lot of time together, at least get chances to talk, and I get to talk with you individually, but it's been a long time since the three of us have had a conversation together. So we were hoping to bring Tori in and just catch up, because I think what's really special about us is we are all raising different aged children. We're in different stages of motherhood. So Tori, for people who haven't met you, can you just share a little bit about who you are and what you do and what stage of mothering you're in?
Yeah, I will. Another interesting fact, all boy moms.
Ooh,
oh yes.
That
How
is
many
crazy.
boys do we have? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9?
Nine?
That is
9 between the
crazy.
three
I
of us.
hadn't thought of that.
It's a baseball team, right?
Yep. I don't
Yeah.
know. How would I know?
I don't know either.
I sat through
My kids don't play
800,000 baseball games. I don't know how many people are on the field.
Yeah, I think it's 9. Okay, so yes, I am first of all a mother of 2 boys. Kirk, can I say his name? Maybe I shouldn't. Kirk is gonna be 6 this week, and he's the one who made me a mother. And Soren just turned 3, so they're just about 3 years apart. And I'm a doula, birth and postpartum mostly. I have a business called Nettle and Honey, which is in transition right now into a business called Marma, which is an app for nutrition in pregnancy and postpartum. Gosh, I feel like I wear so many different hats, and I start talking about what I do, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot I'm a cranial sacral therapist, and oh yeah, I forgot I'm a yoga teacher, and I forgot, I don't know, what am I forgetting?
Apothecary.
Oh, I own an apothecary with Ashley, and oh yeah, I am a holistic nutritionist, and the list kind of all goes on and may sound overwhelming, but it all ties together.
Well, I think that's what draws us together, the three of us, because when I start talking, same thing, I'm like, oh my gosh, and then another, and then another. And I think that we all have that in common. And I think that that's a little bit of the theme of maybe where we're going to go with this show. We never quite know where we're going with conversations, but it feels like the common thread, besides being a boy mom, is that we all have passions and desires and dreams outside of motherhood that are integrated into motherhood, that is the work that we do in this world. And even before we hit record, it was a struggle, mostly for me, but getting here on time to get all the plates where they needed to be. And I think that so many people, no matter what your interests are, if you're a parent of some kind, you can relate to that. So I think we'll see where we go with this conversation. I wanted to just kind of continue our conversation, Ashley, because you were anticipating going to see your boys for the first time after, your youngest moved to college. I have to just share, right before this, I was at a class with my middle guy, who is 11, and he got dropped off at the library, and he doesn't know anybody. It's been a while because he's homeschooling right now, so he hasn't been in a class with a lot of kids. And I could tell he was quiet and nervous. And so I just walked him into the class and introduced him to the teacher. And I was just about to ask him, like, do you need anything at all? And he cut me mid-sentence. He's like, bye.
Oh boy.
He's like, bye. I'm
Bye.
like,
go ahead.
Yeah, I got it. But I was thinking about you because, like, even though that's what we want, that is the reaction I want. I want my kids to be independent and not need me so much. At the same time, it stings a little. I'm not going to lie. Like, you feel it and you're like, oh, my job here is done. Right. And it's like, it's never fully done, but our hearts like feel that, so I want to pass it to you and tell me, what were your boys like this weekend and how are you
Well, I
feeling?
hope they never listen to this episode, frankly, because I'm going to tell the truth. I really love being around my kids, and I love being around my kids when they're friends or with them. And that's what summer looked like. That, my college age, my 3 college age boys were all home, and we had so much time kind of hanging out on the back deck with their friends, and we had a lot of fun. And then boom, 5 weeks ago, Owen and Cole go to school, and they go to school in Arkansas, about 3.5 hours away. And my gosh, I've been missing them and just sad, just missing them. And so we got there with a very planned agenda. It's parents weekend. You guys, Arkansas had, I think, 75,000 people at their football game this weekend.
Wow.
So really busy, and it's a different vibe than what I'm used to. I'm a natural Jayhawker mom where everybody wears Birkenstocks and doesn't wear makeup. And in Fayetteville, they wear boots that are high heeled, and their hair is very dyed, and there's a lot of fringe and things, and they look like they're having so much fun. I don't identify with them. So that's hard for me. And so I feel kind of like a fish out of water. And then the boys didn't really want to spend very much time with us. And so like I made a big dinner Friday night. We stayed in an Airbnb, and I saw both of the boys maybe 15 minutes Friday night. Like I cooked, they ate, and then they were like, we're going out. And I felt a little sting. I just wanted to, like, I don't know, watch a movie and cry together. I wanted some snuggling or some, like, what's going on with you, Mom? Nothing. They ate my food and they left, and were kind of rude about it. And then very little time together, and we had plans. And then they didn't want to stick to them. They wanted to do something very different, like go to this big tailgate. I really like dug my heels in and didn't go, even though it was like not spending time with the boys, because I was like, we had an agenda. We've got another family with us. They can't go to this deal. So long story long, mostly I ended up kind of picking a fight with them myself, and that's not like me. I felt like I was the bear that was poked, and like you can only poke the bear so many times. I felt kind of betrayed. I don't even know how to explain it other than that I just was like, I did all this work. I made breakfast burritos for 10 people. Like I made so much food, and it was just like, no, see ya, Mom. And so then I got home. It was very unfulfilling. Thank goodness, kind of, Owen is a little bit sick. And so he took a nap and like laid his head in my lap Saturday afternoon. We didn't talk. He was asleep, but that was the only kind of good quality time I got. So not so great. And I don't know, like it's a really strange thing having this age children that I want them to act more like thoughtful adults, but they still kind of treat me with no value. And I really felt that this weekend. So poo on family weekend in Fayetteville. I hated it.
I'm sorry about that. I feel like, that comment fish out of water, or like the uncomfortability of mothering. Like there's no like book that really for each one of us tells us how to do this, or what it's going to feel like, when you get to that next stage. And I'm thinking about you, Tori, with your younger children. Like, are you in that place where you feel like they're on you all the time, and she's making a face that says yes. Describe your feelings right now, what you're going through with your kids, and how you juggle all those plates you mentioned at the beginning.
Currently, I'm honestly feeling like a huge relief because my youngest turned 3 at the end of July, and I weaned him from breastfeeding. And that was the first time in 6 years that I have not been breastfeeding, because I breastfed all through my pregnancy, and I tandem fed both the kids for a couple of months. And now I'm like, wow, my body feels really good, and my joints aren't achy, and like my boobs are my own. They're saggy, but they're my own. And yeah. So but still, like today I barely saw my kids, and my husband called me with my 3-year-old on the phone, and he's just like, sorry, Soren wanted to call you. And he's just like, you need to come on right now. And I feel really, really grateful in this period of my life. My husband actually works for me, and the best thing that he does is like holds the fort. He cleans, he cooks, he does the laundry, he does literally all the housework, and he's with the kids mostly, but I'm also still the favorite of my children. So like they still really want me when I'm home. So that's hard, but I don't know. I feel like right now I'm in a really exciting period of my life, like a huge transition time that's really hard, but it's also, I feel really well supported, one by my husband, which is kind of a nice thing right now. It hasn't always been that way. But we're doing really good in our family with like during this transition period. Another huge change is my 6-year-old just went to kindergarten, and it was a big unexpected last minute change because we were doing like a Waldorf school half time. He was going to go 3 days a week, like 9 to 1 half days. And then last minute, my husband really wanted to try a different school. And so now he's going 8 to 4, 5 days a week. And it's actually going really, really well. I was not expecting it at all.
No, you weren't.
No, you weren't. I sobbed and cried every day for at least 2 weeks. And
because transitions are hard.
Transitions are hard.
And you don't know what's on the other side of that door. I mean, like when I said I'm a fish out of water, you're a fish out of water for this.
Yeah.
Shannon's a fish out of water for dropping Ash off at this thing, that we're like, how do I do this part of mothering?
Yes.
That doesn't feel familiar. It feels so unfamiliar.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
I thought it was totally the wrong decision. And I thought that I was a failure of a mother for allowing it to happen. But he loves it. He loves it so much. It's not an overwhelm to him like I thought it would be. And so that's huge relief, and also gives me so much time to concentrate on these businesses.
Yes. Oh, I'm so happy for you. We put so much pressure on ourselves, but I also think it's like the culture in which we live in that puts so much pressure on women, mothers. But I feel like, the idea that we struggle with some of these decisions, like you're talking about, Ashley, with transition, like we never really fully know what's going to happen on the other side. And it's not really necessarily ours to always carry or figure out. I saw a quote recently about how, when we step in or we try to take on something for someone else, we're not giving them the opportunity to work through their stuff. Right. And I feel like, don't you agree that mothering's like a constant trial and error, and it's practice in knowing what's ours, but what also is theirs?
Well, that is such a good statement.
We talk about that a lot as doulas. Like we want to make the birth happen or fix the problem postpartum, or like make breastfeeding work and let that mother step into herself. But there is no changing. We can't make it happen. It's her power. that she needs to step into.
It's her power that she needs to step into. And I love that statement as a reminder for when we see our own struggles, but also for our children. It's their power that they need to step into. Are we all tattooing this on our arms right now?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
probably.
often say that I need a doula for, like, especially a postpartum doula for myself.
Like right now. Yep. Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you guys get your support? I'm interested in that. Like, other than your husband's, like, Jessica, who's my doula partner, that she says all the time, I wish I would have known us when like I was having babies. I need a us that's 10 years older than me.
Yes.
That I would just love that part of my life. But where do you guys find inspiration or support from other moms?
Well, what I love about this conversation, Ashley, is that I always have this little piece of paper going when we're talking. And the two words I wrote down were transition and supported. And so you and I, it's just like, I love that we're in sync with that. And I want everyone who's listening to ask this question to themselves too, before we even answer. Because when we're going through transition, it can feel very lonely. It can feel very isolating. It can feel like everyone else has it together but me. But we're all transitioning constantly, like even when you like finally get the kids to sleep through the night and all of a sudden, bam, the next wave. Now teeth come in.
When does that happen?
Yeah. Oh, never. Exactly. Right. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Yeah. So where do we get our support, especially in those transition moments? I get support from talking with women friends. One, I love feeling that I have, my close people that I can go to that are going to be real with me, that are going to say, oh yeah, my life's a shit show too. It's like, you're not alone. You're not alone. That's one of the places I get support. How about you, Tori?
I really need to concentrate on my body work. Like I have to schedule it in. Like I need my craniosacral, I need my massage, facials. I don't know. I think I feel my stress in my body a lot, and when that can get released, I can handle the next thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's the same for me. I don't know that I had that awareness even just a few years ago. If I can prioritize body work for myself, I tend to have a greater capacity for my career and my kids. And when I feel like I got a little stab wound from somebody's teenage boy, college boy,
Yes.
I'm trying to differentiate from my mom behavior. It's like I've got a little barrier that I did not have this weekend. I needed a whole like energy body. But if I'm doing the body work.
When you say barrier, are you saying grounded, like prepared?
Oh no, I feel like I needed like literally like Glenda the Good Witch that's inside the bubble. I needed the bubble. I needed a protection. I mean, like my children are not my abusers, but sometimes it feels like it when I'm tired or they're just like, I don't know that we ever will get used to kind of Ash saying today, like, bye. Adios, lady. That he doesn't want you to like mess up this thing for him, even though he probably kind of wants you to not leave at the same time. I can feel that with my kids going to college. And I think Tori's, she's got Kirk that's going to this new full every single day school. I totally want them to have it. But I also want them to need me a little bit too. I don't know how to get out of that being needed phase or to be okay with, I guess everybody's just independent, I don't know. I think that's my transition, or that's my hard thing right now for sure.
I remember for myself just a huge shift of me not needing or not wanting relationships with my parents to all of a sudden like calling them every day in my 20s. And my brothers are kind of like that too. It's just like, okay, first we need to like fly away and like, I don't need you, I got this. And then like, oh shit, okay, I got to get back. And call my mama.
Yeah. I was thinking about one of the ways that I find support or at least stay grounded is through unplugging, like not comparing myself or my journey or my life. And so I really sometimes just have to like just not have outside influence. But when you were saying that, Tori, it made me think about maybe that's a little bit what our kids are doing too. You know, they have to find themselves. And through finding yourself, you have to unplug from whatever you've ever known, you know, and then find those things that work. But you're never like completely, sever that tie. It's just an unplugging period that has to happen. And and somehow, we have to try to shift that. It's not that they don't love, there's no lack of love, there's no, they still want us there, but it's this way for them, as we said earlier, to find their own power, right, to step into their own power and to fall and to be able to get back up. But it's not easy. It is not easy when you talk about nursing babies for years in a row. And
well, I think the most beautiful parts of our journey, once we get kind of a little further along, and Tori and I were talking about this before we recorded, that I can look back and be like, oh gosh, like I learned so much about myself, or I loved watching the boys like figure this out. And once I'm on the other side of it, it's really clear. I can see it. I can look back, like this was the right thing, or this was kind of not the right thing. But we all learned why it's not the right thing, whatever it is. Or I think what is so tricky is sometimes I can see, or I think I can, like this isn't the right path for my kids, whether it's somebody that they're dating or a job that they're going to, or college, or the classes, or whatever. And it is quite clear to me to let them go and have this experience that I'm like, I already thought it through. I already know. And frankly, I tend to be right. But what is hard is letting them have the experience and not have their mommy say, bro, I told you so. That having their own experience is so, so, so hard for me, when sometimes I know that, path A would be a better path or a little easier path for them.
Oh, I certainly remember boyfriends I dated in college that my mom said, and I should have listened to her. Mom,
Yeah.
let me live my life. Right. But then I wouldn't
What
have
does she
known.
know? What does she know? And you're like,
she was right. But I had to go through that so that I knew when I found a good one, right? I wouldn't have trusted that. It's just part of the process, I guess.
Part of the process.
When I was 17, I was in love and I wanted to drop out of high school and move in with my Navy boyfriend. And my mom was just like so mortified, just not even by that, but by this person who, and then it like, evolved. And I ended up like, she's just like, no, no, no. And I ran away. He was stationed in Virginia at the time. And I'm like a junior in high school. And I take my friend's Cadillac and drive it across the country. No map, there's no GPS, there's no cell phones. Cell phones were coming about at the time, but like I didn't have one. Yeah. And I drove to Virginia from Chicago and got there and very quickly realized I didn't want to be a Navy wife. And drove home.
But I think she had to, like, she meaning your mom, like, you had to go to know. Like, what if you hadn't gone on that? How much longer would that Navy boyfriend have lasted? And, you guys know my oldest went to New York for a girl that he'd been dating a long time. And I didn't want him to go. I was terrified of it. He was moving, in the middle of COVID also. And that all of my close friends, were like, he has to go, Ashley, you understand this. He has to go to figure out if this is right or if this isn't right. You have to go. Or how would you know?
Right.
Yeah. I think my mom was well, I nearly gave her a heart attack, but at the end, when I came home, like I did not get in trouble at all. not one bit. She was just like so happy that I had come to it, because she even realized, like, okay, there was never anything that I would have said, that she would have said to me,
Yeah.
to change my mind unless I'd figured it out.
I love that story. And I probably needed to hear exactly that story today also. You know, just for me, it's like, I want my children to go and do these things that just like that I did, that you did, that Shannon did. I want that. But there's 21st century moms are really flipping different than the moms who came before us. And I love to think about, and like when I'm listening to other podcasts and people are sharing their coming of age stories, I love listening to the freedom that, you know, I'm 49. You guys are, Shannon's a little younger than me. You're quite a bit younger than us, but it's still different. The kind of pre-smartphone generations that it's like the moms were like, yeah, see you later. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they weren't, but they didn't have this ability to constantly connect or text.
Yeah.
Even with my oldest, we weren't texting when he was, you know, it was very seldom. Like now it's so regular. And we got to figure ourselves out, I think maybe at a little bit of an earlier age, because we didn't have so much information in our hand.
That is so true. I saw some sort of, I don't know, meme on Facebook about 80s children. And it was like, you don't mess with them because like they used to drink, you know, their water bottle was drinking out of a hot hose in the summer.
Yeah, literally. I could taste it.
You didn't get sick. And, you know, yes, the freedom. I mean, my memories are not with childhood. I don't know where my parents were. Like in my memories, we were totally set loose and free. So you're right. And I think that connection and being able to see them at all times through phones and social media. And, you know, I think that's also makes it hard. Well, we were talking before we got recording that we randomly just threw out a couple of questions for each other because we don't get a lot of time to have the three of us together. Do you have a question that you want to ask one of us? Because I know, Tori, you mentioned yours.
Yeah, my question was, what's the first thing you do every morning and the first thing you do at night before you go to bed?
Shannon, you go.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
Okay. Oh, I hope this doesn't sound super cheesy, but this is exactly what I do. When this first thing I wake up is I always say thank you for another day of living. Always. And I think I got that from Wayne Dyer years ago.
Yep.
He used to say he'd put his feet on the ground, and I've done it ever since. More so now because I know how precious life is. So I just really, that's the first mantra that I say. And then I usually say, don't grab your phone. Don't grab your phone because I don't like to look at my phone first thing when I wake up. So, but my ritual is I almost always now do a daily walk. Almost always, because for me, it's that's how I ground. Sometimes I will listen to something, but a lot of times I just go by myself. I do it before anyone needs me. It hasn't always been that way, but that's my habit right now. First thing in the morning.
That's so good.
I like adding the daily ritual in there too. What do you do before you go to bed?
I actually meditate. That's my meditating time. You know what? I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. Chris and I did the whole Ozark thing and we watched it like every single night. And I just kind of I can't watch TV right before bed because it just like affects my sleep. So I will read, but I have a meditation cushion in my bedroom. And again, it's just kind of my two check-ins before I go to bed and before I wake up, before the world needs something from me. So I usually sit on my meditation cushion or I will listen to a guided meditation.
I was going to ask, are you a silent meditator or a guided meditator?
I go in waves. Yeah, I go in waves. Sometimes it depends if I'm mental. There's something in this is also a human design thing. Like I know my energy is very much sporadic and in the moment. And so if I'm plugged into too many people, I have to release that energy from others so I can find myself, like find, oh, there's my energy. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm feeling. And so a lot of times I need silence because otherwise I feel like I'm just filling up more information, you know, by listening. But there are times where I either feel tired or I'm just like, I don't want to sit on my meditation cushion, but I will lay down and listen to guided meditation. So kind of depends on my mood.
My morning is usually, I don't sleep well. And so I'm up a lot during the night. And so mostly it's like finally a decision, like let's just stop trying this. Going back to sleeping. So generally once the sun is up, then I'm like, okay, like I'm just going to get up, and I typically walk right outside after I've gone to the bathroom or whatever, I walk right outside and I sit outside in the sun or, wherever I can get sun, even if it's cold, and drink a big glass of water, usually lemon with some salt in it, water. And that is my like kind of morning, like get my shit together. Whoo! And I don't really want to talk. My dogs sometimes are out with me. And then I start thinking about coffee. And I love, if Ashley, Ashley loves coffee, that I love 1 cup a day and I want it to be delicious. So I start thinking about what I'm making for my coffee. And then my evening ritual is meditation that Will and I do for sure always. He's very, very snuggly. I need that time. Like we get into bed and we snuggle and snuggle and snuggle and talk. And we've been doing that since boys were little, I think, because, I had a lot of kids and our days were the driving years, kind of from age 5 to 16 or 17, that your evenings are just busy, getting kids here or there. Dinners are crazy, and we get into bed and be like, hi, how are you? And so Will and I for sure end our night like snuggling. He falls asleep faster than me, and then I do a guided meditation.
Very cool.
And sometimes I do a guided meditation 34 more times during the night that tries to get me to settle down as well. How about you, Tori?
Well, every morning when I wake up, I've got a sheep rug, like a sheepskin Sherpa rug right at my feet. And I get up and I put my feet on that rug, and then I just like take big arm stretch overhead and just like stretch my back, and I can just like feel my bones like cracking and stretching and opening. And then I do like a couple of like big cat cows, like just get like a lot of movement in my spine. And then I get up and I go downstairs, and I've really been trying to wake up just a little bit before my kids. And at first it totally backfired. I woke up at like 5 a.m. and then they started waking up with me. But now I'm able to wake up at like 6, which is way more doable than 5. And then I've got like a full hour before they wake up, and I'll go and I make a really yummy matcha tea. I gave up coffee, I want to say like 2 years ago now. So I do like raw honey and raw milk with my matcha tea, and I go outside and just like Ashley and I sit and I make sure to put my feet in the dirt and with my chickens, and they just kind of like wander around me and cluck, and they're so funny. And I leave my phone away as much as often as possible, unless I need to take a picture for Instagram because it's kind of a cute thing. That's almost every day morning ritual.
Love it.
And then at night, I try to write down a few words because it helps to clear my brain. And sometimes that I think I'm just going to write down a sentence, and then I ended up writing 3 pages. But sometimes it is just a couple of words or in my planner. But I always put my phone on airplane mode and do a yoga nidra. And it's the same yoga nidra for the past 6 years.
Oh,
wow.
The exact same one. And so I usually fall asleep within 20 seconds of just like the music comes on and I
Love it.
train my
Well,
body.
if you're up for it, let's share some of these our favorite meditations as a link in the show notes, because I tend to land on a few. It depends on the theme I'm working on. I land on my favorites over and over. So yeah, that's awesome.
Do you guys ever do? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say Insight Timer is like my favorite because it's free and there's a billion of them, but I do sometimes like get caught looking at meditations for a really long time, like scrolling through, and then it takes a while to find the one.
I love Insight Timer too. I pay for it, and this is why I pay for it, because I don't sleep well, and sometimes I like to listen to something on a loop.
Yeah.
And you have to pay a little bit for it to keep playing. But I love Insight Timer also.
Yes. If you pause it or want to rewind or fast forward, you can't. And it's only $19 a year, I believe, if that's still the same. Yeah.
But awesome. There's some music, that's like 3 hours of pure relaxation. The second it ends, I'm like, back up. And I used to just be like, who sleeps with their TV on? I get it. I don't sleep with my TV on, but I have a meditation generally or music going most of the night. And I know a lot of people use the app Calm also. So Insight Timer and Calm are both two really rad apps, I think. And they are not our current sponsors, but if anybody knows them, tell them that we could use sponsors.
But I do have meditations there. I'm one of the teachers on it. So
yes.
Well,
we have listened to yours.
Yeah, I'm just on Insight Timer. Yeah.
It's so great. And Shannon's on there, Sammy Aaron, who's an amazing yoga nidra meditation teacher. She's on there.
I also have ones for kids, and my kids listen to meditation before they go to sleep now too. So that's pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we've listened to your kid ones, Shannon. My kids loved it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, that's good. I love that. If you guys are listening and you have a daily ritual or like a morning ritual that grounds you, or an evening one, share it with us. You can go to Instagram at Mindful Mama Movement Podcast and send us a DM, share your rituals. Share your questions too, because I like this, getting to ask each other questions. If you have questions for us and for our community, send them our way, and we'll pull a few for some future shows.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Anything else that you were just dying to ask before we wrap up today, either one of you?
I mean, I feel like there's so much we could talk about, but it would like add another hour, and we should just do another podcast. Let's do it again.
I think it sounds great. And I want to tell our audience, one, Shannon and Tori both look like knockouts, and I just got out of the shower. If you could see us, I wouldn't let Shannon take a picture of me today. It's the coolest part of a podcast, though, is that you can kind of just show up. But I feel so grateful for both of you and just having this time. I know that we're recording a podcast also, but just checking in with girlfriends who I really admire both of you and everything that you're doing.
Thank you. I feel the same way.
Sometime I need to tell the long story about how I know Ashley, and she's really been like in my life since I became a mother, and I really felt like kind of lost. And I met Ashley when Kirk was like 3 months old, and I was just like in the throes of being a new mother and also being very brand new to Kansas City. Ashley's been like my mentor, dear, dear, dear friend.
And didn't you listen to our original podcast?
Yes. I mean, so at the time I lived like 25 minutes away from Home Holistic, and I would come to like every yoga class that I could with my baby, and I'd pack him up and I'd listen to Mindful Mama Movement on the way, and I'd be like crying. And it just like I think it was a huge part of what transformed me into the mother that I am.
Well, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I think that's, the inspiration for when we first started the show to when we're doing it again now, is really, we need the support no matter what transition we're going through, what stage of motherhood we're in. And, we know that those past episodes and those past guests and the sharing and the authenticity that come from you all, we don't know who's listening and we don't know who it's going to touch, but, we all are connecting and sharing and helping each other through that sharing and through that support. So thank you. I love you both.
Love you.
Really fun. Yes. And thank you all for listening. And we will see you in our next episode. If you like the Mindful Mama Movement podcast, take a moment, go to iTunes and rate and review our show. Make sure to subscribe so you can see all of our new episodes when they come out, and share them with your mom friends. Another great way to support the Mindful Mama Movement podcast is to visit our sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by A Free Spirit Life. The intention of A Free Spirit Life is to intuitively guide you towards spiritual alignment, emotional health, creative freedom, and joyful authenticity in your day-to-day life through one-on-one and group coaching, human design readings, online energy and creativity courses, companion products, and community. We spark transformation that helps you feel recharged and ready to share your unique gifts with the world, all while you experience more health, more wealth, more peace, and more freedom in your life. To learn more, visit afreespiritlife.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Home Holistic.
Home Holistic is a yoga and wellness center for mothers. It's like a one-stop shop for moms, from pre-pregnancy through empty nesting. We offer yoga classes, doula services, midwifery care, childbirth education, pelvic floor physical therapy, massage therapy, cranial sacral therapy, acupuncture, lactation support, counseling, and more. Check us out at homeholistic.com.